Hello viewers. Europe's energy producers face €1 trillion in margin calls. European energy producers are going through margin calls that might hold €1 trillion, however might be in a powerful place to repay state-backed loans if governments assist them by way of the liquidity squeeze, in line with Vitality Consultants at Consultants Baringa. The hovering worth of energy this 12 months has pushed up the margin necessities on electrical energy mills that hedge their gross sales within the futures market to unprecedented ranges, resulting in widespread calls for presidency intervention to forestall the European market from collapsing. Nick Tallantier, world head of Vitality and commodities buying and selling at Baringa, mentioned governments ought to really feel assured to supply market contributors with the extra liquidity they want. A lot of the strain that we're seeing are companies that need financing for trading but aren't facing insolvency because actually, if they're on the producing side of the market, they're benefiting from high prices in the physical market, he mentioned. Once the facility is delivered and the hedges are unwound, most firms could have ample money to repay any state-backed credit score, he added. It's a short-term cash pinch and governments should issue loans, but they should feel confident they will be repaid. EU ministers will meet on Friday to debate potential bloc-wide measures. The UK on Thursday mentioned the Treasury and the Bank of England would put in place an energy markets finance scheme to supply £40 billion in short-term liquidity to wholesale Vitality producers, whereas Denmark mentioned it deliberate to supply $13.5 billion of mortgage insurers to utilities. Electricity mills like to cut back the monetary threat of their energy gross sales to households and companies by taking brief positions in futures markets earlier than promoting the bodily electrical energy. Such trades require the generator to publish extra collateral, or margin, to the changes clearing home if the worth of the underlying asset rises, leading to hovering margin necessities as energy costs have soared. Estimating the entire dimension of the margin necessities throughout the whole European fuel and energy market was difficult, however was extremely more likely to be within the order of €1 trillion, Tallantier mentioned. Europe consumes virtually 3,000 terawatt-hours of energy at 12 months, however not all electrical energy is bought by way of wholesale markets as built-in firms can promote straight to shoppers. The annual quantity of fuel and energy traded, nevertheless, is about 5 instances whole demand, in line with Baringa. Roughly 70% of these 15,000 TWh are traded in so-called over-the-counter transactions between counterparties that make their very own credit score preparations, a lot of which is not going to be collateralized. The relaxation, about 5,000 TWh, is traded on exchanges, which require the events on either side of the transaction to make margin funds. In whole, €1 trillion is probably not a foolish estimate, Tallantier mentioned. Countries that place a better proportion of energy is traded on exchanges, reminiscent of Germany, have been more likely to be extra affected, Tallantier added. The EEX in Leipzig is Europe's most liquid energy market and the primary buying and selling venue for Germany and Central Europe. Companies with higher vertical integration have been more likely to be higher protected, he mentioned, as electrical energy mills with retail arms have a direct path to market, that means much less must promote energy to a distributor, after which hedge that sale. If you liked the video, please hit the like button on this page and subscribe if you would like to hear more.